much matter. This is a special broadcast episode of the After Work Pints. The After Work Pints is where I go onto Patreon, make a video once a week for the patrons, and talk about the issues and the things I found out while doing this week's video. And one of the issues that I had with this week was I don't really care about the Napoleonic Wars. I know it's probably sacrilege in some groups, but it just never interested me. And I found out that that was a pretty big hampering when it came to actually making this video, because I didn't really know what I was looking for. I mean, it sucks when your area of study is all prehistory, and I forgot to put up a hunting area. But your area of study is all prehistory, and then you're doing something that, is in history. So it kind of made for a long video for me. The things that I learned, simply enough, that was a really weird time period to be a merchant. So, the licensing. You had the British that enacted their license, but then the French decided to do it, and so did the Spanish. And each one had its own caveats to it. But the British is the one that stands out the most because they were able to enforce it more than everybody else could enforce theirs. But the idea that you couldn't trade with any other ports that literally weren't flying a British flag. And the British actually put the licensing in place to, help commerce, quote unquote. And it was supposed to protect the merchant vessels. But oftentimes, the British, it was legalized privateering. So, during the Caribbean with the height of the pirates, they were able to, pirate all they wanted because it was legalized by the government until it wasn't. But it never became illegal, so to say. So the Royal Navy would stop merchant vessels at sea, and they would just say, "Oh, I don't see your license. You don't have a license here." And they would then proceed to pillage the ship, and the ship's captain would then be stuck in court, where the court would probably side with the Royal Navy, going, "Yep, no, you didn't have a license." So it helped deter shipping quite a bit. The other thing was that I found out that was actually pretty interesting was you had the American Revolutionary War, and before the war, England made up, it was something like 90% of the trade that was coming from and to the States. Well, at that time, the colonies. And after the war, England just sat there and said, no, and started only doing 10% of the trade. And they actually started to flood the American markets with goods that were cheaper than the goods that the American merchants could muster. So what would any rational group of people do there? Well, they would come together and say, okay, we need to band together to see if we can bring prices down. No, not in early America. They went to their state representatives and started having their state representatives enact tariffs on other states to hamper the trade from the other states. So it's one of those that just, it boggles your mind when you find little facts like that out. Let's see, what else? I wrote some stuff down in my notebook. Oh. So, finding images for this video was an absolute nightmare. You would suspect that, okay, this happened, 200 years ago. There should be plenty of images available online. And no. The images that are available online are all licensed. So you took a photo of thing X, and thing X is now published online by you. Well, I can't use that because, one, I'm not going to pay you for your photo because I just don't want to. So finding images for this video was rough. And I ran into the issue where I wanted to take and use, like, there was this really nice image of the gang, press gang, but they were walking them from one ship to the other ship across the plain. And it was really nice, and it was going to fit perfectly into the video. But it was part of Getty Image, and I don't use Getty Images. I use a thing called Canva. And Canva didn't have access to it. So it was kind of infuriating because it worked so perfectly for the video, and then just not being able to use it. I do find that, you probably noticed that at the bottom when I do reference where I got the photos from, that Library of Congress, especially for things that happened in America, Library of Congress is an amazing resource. You can actually go through and select the year that you want to take a look at. You can select if you want newspaper print, if you want how do I rotate these pieces? Nope. You know what? Let's go. Oh, are they? We were looking at maybe having to subscribe to them to get some images, but it's the fact that I already paid for one service and didn't really want to be paying for another one right now. But yeah, it's something that we're gonna have to look at. Canva's amazing. I do all the really crappy little animations in Canva, and it's good for what it is. But I need, especially when it comes to things that are like that one photo, just that one photo is perfect. But yeah, that's been a big issue with quite a few of the videos I've actually made, was trying to actually find the proper photo. And surprisingly enough, the prehistory stuff, not really all that much of an issue. It's the historical stuff, the stuff that you figure would be, free to use. And it's like I was saying, Library of Congress, amazing. I use a lot of photos from the Met. Everything that the Met puts up online is public domain and free for use. So if you have something that you're working on and you need photos, go to the Met. They might have something that actually works. Yeah. I wish the Library of Congress site functioned better. It's slow. Slow enough that I was editing Friday, I believe, and I had to give up for the night because Library of Congress was timing out. It was taking so long. But yeah, the lack of being able to, how do I rotate these pieces?
Television said they get copyrights, strike people for taking images, they'll then copyright later.
Yeah, that's like, and that's one of the things I've been very careful about, was trying not to use images that, because being a new channel, I don't want any copyright strikes, I don't want any of that stuff, and I don't have the money to fight for any of that stuff. But just historical videos, I love doing them because there's so much research, but they are a pain in my neck, and it's infuriating. That's one thing you're going to notice, is I'm going to have to use a lot of different words. Over on Patreon, I can curse to my heart's content. It's lovely. YouTube is implementing all sorts of new rules that make it difficult, so to speak. But no, the biggest issues I ran into with this one was literally the imaging, and not going into the Napoleonic Wars, not really knowing much about it, and not caring much about it. And it's one of those things that I still hope the video was, coherent and made sense. Because, I may not care about it, but I'm sure somebody out there does. I mean, there has to be, right? But I enjoy making the historic videos because they do have so much to go off of. But I really enjoy prehistory because, one, it's my area of study, and two, you can just kind of create a little bit more of a story around what was going on, rather than having, as horrible as it sounds, cold hard facts. And just being able to just being able to make something is fun enough in and of itself for me.
Josh commented, the library comments was really slow when they went to do repeat researches. They actually only results to a specific region and time period, but it's literally the same map with different pictures.
Yeah, I find that Library of Congress, I want them to differentiate a little bit more between, like, manuscripts and like photos, or portraits, should I say? Because just kind of having all those together was a pain, which makes just had a thought and I lost it.
Josh said that people like prehistory is just cooler.
Prehistory is cooler. I mean, it's for me, it's, being able to decide a narrative for something is just awesome. And, yeah, you got research that's already been built up by other people, but being able to add to it is just amazing. But yeah, the whole licensing issues between, really, it was only Britain and France, because at the end of the day, Spain, I think it was during the 5th coalition, Spain flipped away, because that is very loud, and I don't know if that's loud for you guys, but it is. I'm very sorry. Oh, hang on. I don't know what was going on there. Final Cut Pro decided it was going to take and start playing some video. Okay, yeah, let me... seriously? Why is everything going off right now? Go away. Thank you. Yeah, this is a... Let's try that. This has just been a beast of a night, showing I don't really know how to use technology. But, yeah, what was something else I wrote down? Oh, I was talking about the licensing. Because Spain basically just... Napoleon tried to instate his brother as king of Spain. Spain didn't like that. They revolted. And, yeah, and that was one of the things that, like, when I was talking about the neutral states, or the neutral countries... Oh, I haven't saved it for a bit. Whoops. That was one of the... I made this beautiful animation. I say beautiful, you know, all my animations are crappy as all get out. But, you know, it was nice. And it was showing the League of Neutral something or whatnot. Only to find out that that only lasted for like 2 years. The first one lasted for like 2 years. The second one lasted for like 2 years. And both of them didn't really work in the time period that I was looking at. So I had to scratch that whole thing. But like allegiances during, I mean, this, what, 15-year time period, they shifted heavy and fast. It was like one time, you know, you got this country battling France, and then the next coalition, it's all of a sudden this country's going, yeah, you know, we're friends with you now. But yeah, it was I wish that I cared more about the Napoleonic Wars. I do. But the... Let's see here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes right now.
Helen, Napoleon was supposed to be rescued from his second exile and come to New Orleans, but then he died before the plan could be executed.
I did not know that. And then he had his penis cut off. That was, yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of interesting that it kind of makes you wonder if he would have came to New Orleans, if all of a sudden, he would have sat there and walked up to Washington and said, I am the captain now. And, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, the licensing issues were... Britain kept implementing bigger and more grand licensing licenses, and it wasn't anything new that Britain had been doing, but they really ramped it up to take and, you know, stick it to the French. And I mean, it worked, obviously, but at what cost? They caused themselves a lot of issues, and then, you know, leading up to the War of 1812, that was a kick in the face for them. But I mean, I know it comes out that it was a stalemate, but I mean, let's be honest, they managed to burn the White House down. I don't think that's a stalemate. I think that was them just coming in, wagging it around and going, what are you going to do now? But now the licenses, I think because France was the first one to implement the licensing, and England retaliated that same year or the year after. And then, is there a comment? Oh, sorry, I thought you were making a noise. And then France implemented another edict, England implemented another, and it was just basically this back and forth between the two. And the thing that I didn't really get to cover much in the video was that Britain's licensing thing, part of it was that if you were making any deliveries into Europe, you had to stop at a British port and pay taxes on all the goods that you were transporting. So you can see how that would, cause a black market to form. And one of the things I found that I couldn't really find much on, because when you look up, anything during the Napoleonic Wars, it's all about the Napoleonic Wars. But apparently a black market started to form, not just for the licenses, but for goods. People would sit there and, you know, much like we do today when you sit there and mail something overseas, you go, this is going to my cousin. Huh? And it's not going to your cousin. But that's one of the ways that, from what I was able to gather, that they were trying to get around having to pay the British the licensing fees. I am low on food.
Cohen had said the British were defeated by a bunch of pirates in New Orleans.
And during the War of 1812, or because that's why am I trying to fish in the middle of nowhere? Because I'm beginning to wonder, like how did New Orleans just go from the BAs that they are to partying, and I guess when you've done enough murder.
Yeah, it was the War of 1812.
Huh. See, and that's the thing, like, I don't care about... I never cared much about the War of 1812 either. It was always one of those that... Kansas public schools don't exactly teach you a lot. My public school experience was... for my high school years, they handed me a hammer and said, you build houses now. So that was, they basically, they train you to go into a profession along those lines. They don't train you to go into university. And so all this learning stuff is not new to me, because I've been doing it for years now, but there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people learned during their formative years that Kansas City schools just sat there and went, no, that's not what they need to know, and they don't expect any of us, except for a handful of us, to actually do well. But no, during that time period, it was hilarious to see how much the two countries would try to destroy each other. And then you had Spain just sitting there like the little brother going, well, I want to play too, and not actually understanding what they were supposed to be doing. And it didn't help any at this time. Spain owned France a lot of money. And the blockade actually was keeping Spain from being able to get any gold or anything from the Caribbean into Spain. And that kind of hurt Spain's relationship with France a little bit, but it was just kind of funny to see just Spain just trying to stick in there and play with the big boys. And when you think about it, it's actually kind of amazing to think how quickly Napoleon was defeated and things went back to normal. And I say normal, but it was the new normal after that. But yeah, the video itself was a lot of fun. I had fun doing the graphics. The one at the very beginning, that one I worked on for about an hour and a half. And a large part of that was just trying to go frame by frame and moving every object where it needed to go in the frames. And I forgot just how dark, visually dark, the Dark Knight movie is. When it's the two cops in the truck and you got both of the hats moving, I had so much trouble trying to keep track of whose head was whose, because it's such a dark thing. But after I spent, it was like an hour and a half working on that, I play it back, and I think it's like 3 seconds long. And it was a lot of fun to make, but it was a little devastating. And then you remember that that's just animation. But unhappy.
Some comments from online. Josh, I read stuff on Reddit where I see kids saying, I've been enjoying anthropology in high school. Hashtag prepare for college. And then Josh also said, excuse me, anthropology in high school? The closest thing I had available was psychology. Which then I replied, I believe it was a bunch of courses balled into humanities. Kids these days.
Yeah, see, we didn't even have psychology. Um, it was literally like I remember coming up on graduation, and in there was the kids that you knew were going to go to university. Um, I forgot to put my.
Also, Cohen asked, what was the render time on that video?
So not too long. I have the Mac Mini with the M1 chip in it. Um, so the video itself came out to just over 2 gigs, and I think it only took, I don't know, maybe I walked away from it, but I was only gone for maybe 10 minutes or so, and I came back and it was good to go.
It ended up being about 3 gigs.
Was it about 3 gigs?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the rendering on it is definitely nice. How quickly it does get it done. Because I render every video in 4K, even though they don't stream on YouTube in 4K. I figure that having that 4K file for one day, whenever I can manage to stream in or put the videos up in 4K. Maybe I'll re-upload some of the videos, but probably not, because I need to go back and redo some of the videos because the editing style has changed so radically since we started this, and it's everybody's ashamed of the early stuff, and I am no different. But it's what it is. It's early stuff, and I learned from it, moved on, and now I make better version for better, crappier versions of the videos. If that makes any sense. I don't think very highly of my work. I know I'm selling it.
Josh commented that they apparently offer anthropology at Pembroke Hill. So if you're really fancy, your kids can learn. Hashtag hyperlocal PC stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, Pembroke is not. I haven't thought about Pembroke for years now. Um, yeah, no, that Pembroke. Wow.
When you go to school on the plaza.
When you go where?
To school in the plaza.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, don't expect very much out of the plaza. And, partially because, I don't really care much for Missouri. But, but yeah, no, the render times are actually pretty good. On the shorts, I mean, the minute shorts, I don't know, I hit render and it's pretty much done almost immediately. Um, the videos I put up for like TikTok, they're usually around 3 minutes, and that takes only a few minutes to render the videos for there. So if you're, excuse me, dinner's starting to fight. If you're looking to, it was not a cheap investment. I will admit to that, but because we got it and we maxed it out so that it would be useful for years to come, and Final Cut was $300 one-time purchase, so I don't have to pay for any continual use, which is nice, unlike Adobe. But yeah, I recommend that if you're wanting to take and make some videos, go with Final Cut. And if you're not a Mac person, I'm not really sure what the equivalent of the M1 chip in a Mac or in a PC is, but yeah, Final Cut is definitely nice. That's all I gotta say about that. Oh, I am running out of food. Here I am just chitty chatting. But yeah, no, the most interesting fact that I found from this was that, I knew that when the United States formed, there was a lot of infighting, but I didn't realize just how petty it got and how much of a issue the early days were. I say early days, it was like that for years and years. I mean, it's still like that to this day, unfortunately. But, we getting a lot of meat from this or no? Oh, yeah. But, no, it was the. Oh, damn. I just dropped the D word. YouTube's gonna slap me now. But now the next video, it's gonna be in Egypt, and I'm not gonna say much more about it than that because I don't want to ruin it for you. And it's gonna be, I imagine, just as infuriating. Because that's one of the issues, that when you look up very touristy places, and I'm trying to do the research for these touristy places, that's all you get is touristy. And because, I don't have access to, a library, like when I was at KU, I don't have access to all of the records they have. And then academia.edu is so restrictive on what you can see because they want you to pay that. I think right now it's $169 for a year, and I miss the days when, yeah, granted, I was paying a arm and a leg in tuition, but at least I got all the research I needed for free. But no, it's gonna be infuriating because it always is. But at the same time, I do enjoy doing it. I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy seeing the reactions. I don't always enjoy some of the comments, but it's only because some of the comments are, I'm trying to think of how to put this politically, devoid of logic, I guess is the best way to put it. Just way out there in left field. And that's the problem with archaeology in general, is that I remember, Josh, you were on the dig with me actually. River sitting there reading out of the binder of the Crazies, and Megan and I have decided that we're going to start putting together a binder of the crazy comments that we get, and maybe at the end of every year we'll go through and just read them out and rank them out. But I missed that dig. That was a fun dig. That was a good dig. But yeah, let's see. Did I write anything else in my notes? No, that was it. I mean, do you guys have any questions about the video? Anything that you felt like should have been in there? Anything that, you didn't understand? And I will try my hardest to make it less understandable. Because I, I do these videos. I start research on the video on a Monday, and I research Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday I write the script, and then Thursday morning we film. So it's like I get 2 days to really get all the information I need, and oftentimes it's not enough. And that most of my sources, if you look at the sources that I list, they come after the fact when I'm doing the editing, because trying to find photos and whatnot adds up, and then I am not going to survive this raider attack. That's good. As we slowly watch everything that I've worked get decimated. I don't know where my last villagers are at, but these raiders aren't going to go away until... Oh, there we go.
He had said his only real Wars knowledge came from Master and Commander.
Yeah, I actually watched that movie 2 or 3 weeks back now. Megan makes fun of me, but we're gonna have to restart that one because I did not do well. Let's go for this one. But yeah, Megan makes fun of me, but I really do enjoy that movie. Yeah, I think it's underrated for what it is. And she's laughing in the background, more cackling, should I say? But no,
Cohen said he thought the video was good too.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like I've noticed that, because I've changed up a lot of the video editing style, and it's like I was joking with Megan today. I was just like, how do you make something that isn't sexy, and that changing that video, the editing style, I didn't care much for it at first, but I'm starting to become a little more okay with it, partially because it seems to be working. But no, it's I'm always worried that I didn't do enough research, and I think that's probably just part of the field, is that you're always worried that you could have done more, and because I put such heavy time restrictions on myself, it's hard to come up with more time. It's like, not last week's video. Was it last week's video?
2 weeks ago is when you got the scope.
Yeah, so when I had my scope,
Yeah, that would have been last week's video.
basically I had the surgery, and I crammed as much as I could for, I think it was the Nazca lines.
No, it was Kokia.
Was it Kokia? No, it wasn't Kokia, was it? I don't know. I crammed as much as I could for one of the videos because I had to work ahead. And yeah, it was Kokia. You're right. I'm sorry for questioning you. And it was, as I was doing the research, I was feeling pretty confident. And then as I was editing the video, a voice in my head just sits there and goes, "You're going to want to double check this." So I start to double check it and find out that, oh boy, was I wrong on a few things, and ended up having to cut part of the video out. And luckily, it didn't really change much. And then there was the audio issue, which this week I seem to have gotten sorted out. And fingers crossed it stays sorted out. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this again because I've got another one in a couple weeks. So I have to basically cram. And it reminds me a lot of when I was back in university, putting off writing a paper until the last minute and then going, well, why did I fail this paper? And that's how I feel, every morning I wake up.
Conan said he feels the same way when he does research.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think it's drilled into us. It's you sit there and you spend all this time in university and you're getting your degrees and whatnot, and then they always make you feel like you didn't do enough, and you go, well, I did what I could with what I had, and then they tell you that's not enough. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. Been talking about possibly looking at doing my doctorate, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet or not. Mainly because I don't really care for school. I, uh, I don't really care for school. I don't like paying an arm and a leg for it either. Um, and that's a story for another time. But yeah,
Dr. Bradley Saint has a nice ring to it.
It's Dr. Saint. Thank you. Yeah, it's like I'm the first person in my family to have gone off to university, and I joked with Megan when I first started university. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all out with it, so that if we ever have a kid, I can look at that kid and sit there and go, "You're never gonna achieve as much as I did." And it sounds petty, and but it's the kind of person I am. But yeah, oh, I forgot to put a. I don't have anything to cut some trees down with. Well, that's fun. But no, it's cramming all of this in and trying to make something actually worthwhile out of it. And the way I figure it is, if people, one, can enjoy it, and two, learn something from it, then at least I've done something. And it's like, yeah, I would like to focus more on the time, like Mesolithic, but there's only so much I can do for the Mesolithic. And at the end of the day, it would just kind of be repetitive. But I enjoy the challenge of bouncing around and trying to put it all together and make something actually worthwhile. It's that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
Cohen said, we were talking about how far to go in class last semester. They asked me if I was interested in getting my doctorate. I was like, no, I don't need that kind of stress in my life.
Yeah, it's like I had this realization that I got my master's degree, 5 years ago?
2018?
So in 2018, so however many years ago that was. And
five months here.
yeah, and it just kind of hit me that it was just like, I've been out of school for 5 years, and now I feel like I'm kind of back in school making all the content. But the difference is I get to dictate what I'm doing, and it's refreshing. But I was just like, the university here in Toronto apparently is a pretty good university, but we have to get permanent residency before I decide to do anything, which permanent residency is supposed to be coming up in March, I believe.
Yeah, we have to do it early April, end of March.
Yeah, so hopefully, get permanent residency and then go from there.
Cody said if he did his PhD, by the time it was done, it'd be time to retire.
Yeah, but think of all that extra stress that you'd get, and the the heartache and that sense of, oh my God, why did I choose to do any of this? Just think of all of that. Just and is Josh still on?
Uh,
If you're still on, Josh, are you doing your PhD? Are you looking to do your PhD? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. It's yeah, because like I don't even know what I would do my PhD on. Megan and I've talked about a few different ideas, but ultimately it's
Cohen said he's had enough of that in his life.
yeah, it's thing. It's like university is a special kind of torture. You know, it's like growing up, not ever expecting to go to university, and just going, okay,
Josh bailed on his PhD.
hey, you know what? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's there's no shame in that. When I was at the University of York, Gordon, an amazing guy. He got a couple PhDs, but then I can't remember this other guy's name. He would finish a degree and then immediately just like go straight back into another one, and I could not understand for the life of me why he liked torturing himself so much. But he genuinely enjoyed it, and it's like, cool.
Yeah, Josh said he'd only give it a serious consideration and only do it if you love the potential advisor or project.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like,
He's doing a permanent ABD with his master's at this point.
okay, well, you know what? Do you? I would love to be back in the field, but until we figure out why I can't breathe, the field is it's a dream right now, because I can't even walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing, and nobody's gonna want that in the field. It's not gonna do anybody any good. What am I looking for here? There we go. But yeah, no, and it's like, and I've got quite a few. Conan's given me an idea, and I've got to flesh that one out some more.
For videos, not PhD.
Huh?
For videos, not PhD.
Yeah, well, yeah, for video. Yeah, we've only, I think this is the most we've talked about a PhD, actually. But, yeah, I've got to finish fleshing that one out a little bit more, and I got a few other videos set up. Well, not set up, but ready for me to start in on the research. And, you know, get those crunched down. I'm sorry if you can hear that water. I tried turning the sensitivity on the mic down. I don't know if you can hear it or not. It's rather annoying, especially when we're filming, because you start to film and you get that one take that's really good, and then at the very end of it all, the water starts to run and just ruins the whole thing. It's infuriating.
Cohen had said that there's someone in his classes doing their bachelor's with honors in anthropology, and the other two getting a bachelor's at the same time. And Josh had mentioned that he's been away in the field after his heart attack.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that you. Yeah, how are you doing from that heart attack? If you don't mind. And yeah, once I got my learning disability actually diagnosed, I managed to take and go from just barely passing to graduating with honors, and still don't know how. I think that they just took pity on me and sat there and said, you know, he's not going to make much of his life anyway, so just give him this one little dream. That's my brain cannon.
Cohen, I did my field school post heart attack. I was worried about it. Not sure how actual field work would play out. And Josh said it all worked out okay. I had a great time digging holes in the desert.
Yeah, that is one place that I don't think I want to work is the desert. Um, I hate the heat. I hate the heat with a fiery passion. And ooh, mammoth. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed working in England and Ireland. It was just nice. You know, it never got too hot, never got too cold. Just kind of stayed this nice temperature, and it yeah. I mean, granted, the days that it was just pouring down rain, and you were standing there monitoring, those were not fun, because just you see the digger just up there warm in his cab, and you're just standing there soaking wet. But I remember one day it had been stuck in the rain all day long, and I'm walking home from the train, and the street we lived on had this area that just the drainage did not work well for it, and just walking along in this car, I think that they just purposefully decided to drive through this huge puddle, and it was like every movie in a scene where, or every scene in a movie where you see that guy that's already miserable and then he gets splashed by the bus, and his car just come blowing down the street, hit that puddle, and I didn't know I could become colder than I already was. But yeah, that was a miserable day.
So Cohen said he lived in Vegas for 4 years. The summers suck, but the rest of the year is nice.
Yeah, so far Canada, like where we're at in Canada, has been nice. This winter, it never really got cold, and the summer it never got hot. It was this 1 year we've lived here so far, enough to take and draw all your life conclusions from it. It's actually been pretty nice, and like living in a brick house, coming from Kansas, where you don't build a brick house because it's just going to get torn down by a tornado. Living in a brick house during the winter, the heater just barely even comes on. It is delightful. And, it's just so nice. Now, with that being said, the summers, luckily we have a lot of windows, but the summer gets a little stodgy. And a lot of walking around in underwear. A lot of walking around in underwear.
Josh said his health is great now. His liver stopped processing cholesterol correctly.
Oh.
But now he's on medications that take care of him.
That's good. Yeah. No, I mean, it's good that it's taken care of, but that sucks. I mean, you know that better than I do. I I just can't breathe. But I would definitely take this over a heart attack. And I'm making you feel a lot better about your heart attack now, aren't I?
Cohen said he loved UK weather. And then Josh said, come on, the Chihuahua Desert in July. There's nothing like it. Plus we got Clovis, so that was fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. But, it's like the heat now. Any time that I start to get warm, my body just sits there and goes, eh. And that was one of the things, like doing the dig down in the Ozarks. It was kind of nice living, or not living, but working next to the river like that. Because, it got hot, but At least the river was right there. But no, I don't do well with heat. And and it's funny because a lot of places I actually want to visit are in the desert.
Josh, it was pretty cool. I got defibrillated twice.
Dude, so you died twice? I mean, that's something you kind of lead off with. I thought that you just had like a heart attack and you're like, oh, ouch, and went to hospital. But the fact you had to get a thank you, Megan. Now I can't say the word. Defibrillator twice. I mean, you should lead off with that. That's jeez.
Oh, and mine wasn't that bad. I just got a massive, had the massive chest and left arm pain.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking that it was going to be, was that. And then, way to undersell your heart attack. Good on you. Jesus.
Also, this is definitely a middle-aged archaeologist conversation. You guys are all talking about your heart attacks and stuff.
Hey now, Megan. I don't know if you can actually hear her or not, but she was just very mean to all of us.
Josh said, honestly, the heat in the desert is way better than the Ozarks. At least shade works down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Dry heat at least is...
Cohen can hear me.
Conan can hear you. Well, then, I guess if we're already into it, don't forget to get your prostate checked. But, yeah, dry heat is at least dry heat. Humidity, we all know what humidity is. I mean...
You're all scientists?
No. We all lived in very humid areas.
Not sure.
Some of us still live in humid areas. Yeah, when we moved up here, the next door neighbor told us that it gets really humid here during the summer, and the summers, get very warm. And the humidity, I mean, I think the highest it got was like 80%. And coming from a Kansas summer, I mean, it's probably not as bad as down in Louisiana, but yeah, no, it was never that bad here.
Josh, it was a widowmaker, 100% blockage in the left anterior descending artery. Also, they can both hear me talking smack.
Well, if yeah, it's a good thing you survived. Maybe you can get yourself one of those fake hearts. And are you kidding me? Don't want to say that it's you guys, but you're the reason I keep losing. I'm just gonna blame it on you because I can't take responsibility for any of my own actions. Let's try this one now. We keep going by lakes. Let's go by a river. Let's check out a river.
Josh, it's kind of torture to come home to KC on my breaks. Temperature's 10 degrees low, but the humidity is murder once you've been in the desert.
Yeah, I miss aspects of KC, but there are some things that no matter how hard I try, I cannot miss. And Kansas City weather is definitely one of those things.
So Cohen's the opposite. He went from Vegas to Louisiana in June, went from 116 with less than 25% humidity to 80 degrees with 100% humidity. And he states he would take humidity all day.
Really? I mean, see, the good thing about humidity is you can always tell when you're dehydrated. So I give humidity that. But like, it's like when we moved to England the first time. Well, the only time, because then it was Ireland after that. um, we left Kansas City, and I don't know what the temperature was in Fahrenheit. It was like 42 Celsius, and we land in England, and the pilot's going, "It's balmy out there, guys. It's gonna be a warm one." And it was 26. We got off the plane, and Megan and I get off the plane. We're just like, "This is bliss. I can deal with this." And then you quickly realize how acclimated to 40-degree weather you are, and we immediately started to go, I'm just a little cold. And then promptly crashed in a hotel.
Oh, and at least your sweat has a chance to work.
And that's true. It's it, humidity is humidity's humidity. I don't really, I enjoyed the summers here. Everybody moved to Canada. The weather's nice. The people are here.
We have another mayor scandal.
Yeah, we have another mayor scandal right now. It's not as big as not Doug Ford.
Rob Ford.
Rob Ford a few years ago, but it's nope, we're not quitting. No, thank you. But it's it is what it is. But yeah.
Cohen, so when they left London, it was 55 and raining. When they landed in Vegas, it was 105 and raining.
I mean, at least you had rain both times. Yeah, look on the bright side. It the only difference is that when you left England, the rain would puddle. When you landed in Vegas, the rain just evaporated when it hit. Speaking of rain, it's raining in the game now. I got quite a bit of megaliths around here. I think our new goal is just to take and try to build a megalith, and then go from there. So I think we're probably going to have to be... no, we got a little bit of time left. And I'm enjoying talking to you guys.
I say it's been a while.
It is. It has been a while. But yeah. I don't know why I'm making them collect so much stone. Get this flint going. Already got the storage going. Let's get the crafter going. Nope, I already got a crafter.
Josh has got to go make dinner.
No worries. Yeah. We'll enjoy making your dinner. I keep forgetting that you guys are an hour behind us. I'm sitting there going, dinner was already come and gone.
Josh is saying he'll come back if we do this again.
Yeah, so this is something we're talking about starting up. Doing a once a month, after work pints. So I'll still do everything over on Patreon, but then once a month we might just do something like this. And then we're talking about doing some odd streams here and there between everything, but the problem is that I can't really think of what to stream on. And that's partially because I'm not very creative. So, yeah, we definitely are talking about doing more live streams so that, it helps build the community a little bit more, hopefully. People see what we're doing and enjoy it.
Conan asked for more coin streams.
Yeah, so coin streams, I got to a point where I kind of ran out of coins.
He's gonna mail you some.
Oh, well, that would be appreciated. You got any Spanish doubloons? I know I'm asking, beggars and choosers and all that, but if you have any Spanish doubloons, I would love to see a Spanish doubloon. But yeah, the coin streams, I got so involved into editing, and now I'm starting to figure editing out, and it's opening up a little bit more time, because it was that, we filmed on Thursday night, and then I'd spend all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then some of Monday editing. And now I'm starting to actually figure out what I'm doing, and starting the filming on Thursday mornings and having all day Thursday and Friday to edit definitely helps. So yeah, we might actually look at doing a coin cleaning stream maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. I don't know. We'll have to see where the wind takes us. It's a matter of like I cleaned all the coins I had really, and one of the things that I'm going to be doing over on Patreon is actually showing building a case, like a display case like you'd see at a museum, because coming from carpentry, being able to do carpentry is always fun for me, and it's something different. But yeah, no, definitely looking to do these more, because talking is one thing on Discord, but I find that I don't really know how to talk through text. And I often figure I come out either too blunt or too vague. But at least this, you can see my facial reactions when I'm talking to you. This face right here.
Cohen said no Spanish doubloons. Those would stay to safe.
Oh. Like I said, beggars and choosers and all that. And yeah. Now I've got one coin left, one Roman coin, because my neighbor next door, she's an elderly lady, and she desperately wants to clean a Roman coin, but she's had a lot of things going on, so haven't been able to get over there and do much with her. But yeah, no, we're definitely looking to doing that, and if I can actually figure out some content to talk about and stream, maybe do these once a week, and we'll have to figure out a better time for everybody, because it kind of feels like a weeknight is just a bad idea in general. We chose this one partially because Megan thought, the video being fresh in everybody's head, and we could talk about it more. But I think that for the next one that we do for this, we're going to move it to a Saturday. And this is something that we get on Discord. We could talk on Discord and find out what time actually works for everybody. Because, weeknights are weeknights. I don't really know how to explain it. You know what a weeknight is, I hope, by now.
Cohen said, you have facial expressions?
Not many facial expressions, but I got some. There's this one. That's a smile. And then there's this one. That's I don't know, you put whatever you want to that one. Helps if I have some things making. But yeah, I think we're actually going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. I will save this game, and we can come back to it, or I might start a different game, not this one. This one's kind of slow-paced. I don't know if you ever played Dawn of Man, but it's a fun game, It's just one of those games that you can just kind of like let it play itself for a little bit. But yeah, no, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, and we'll take and get on Discord and talk some more on Discord about future plans for future streams, so that it's a little more copacetic for everybody, and go from there. So I have to figure out how to end the stream now. Quit. Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, Megan's right there, the little golem. There's her hand. So yeah, thank you guys.
Owen said thanks for the stream. It was a good time.
Yeah, no worries. I do enjoy it. So have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your dinners. I'm gonna be getting ready for beddy bed because I need my beauty sleep. It's crucial. So all right, guys. Thanks and have a good night.